How's it going? So today I'm going to do a little walkthrough on the Princeton Review website. And this is a website that if you are one of my students or if you are doing your own like ACT prep, you might be using the Princeton Review. Just a note that the Princeton Review is one of just several different testing companies that offer all kinds of pretty cool services. And so today I'm just going to show the Princeton Review. And so first we got to sign in here. So you want to click on that. And so if you're actually one of my students, you should already have a Princeton Review account set up for you. So if you haven't been able to log in before, I would try entering probably your school email address right there. And you obviously don't know your password, so you're going to click on forgot your password, and then you have to do that entire thing where you have to log into your email and then you have to click on a link and do all that sort of thing. But hopefully once you do that, you will be able to log into your Princeton Review account. And again, if you're one of my students and you tried that, please send me a text and I can look into that. I can see if you're using the right email address or if there's a problem with your account. Okay, so since I am technically an instructor or registered as an instructor on this website, I don't have 100% view of what you will exactly see when you log in. So this part is actually kind of important, and I can't really show it right here, but I will talk you through it. So if you log into your Princeton Review account for the first time, what you will see is kind of like a page like this. And this is what I see, but just know that this is going to be different. But you're not going to see your ACT score yet or your practice ACT score. But instead, what you're going to see is a box that says ACT 2T2 or something like that. And that will probably be around here if you are looking at your web page. And what you want to do is you want to click on that guy, and then it's going to load up a screen that says target schools. And this is kind of the weird part because especially if you're one of my students, you're just getting started with this whole college prep thing and probably really hadn't had the chance to dive into what schools you really want to apply to. And that's okay. Just for the sake of getting you started, just enter one of maybe one of the schools that you're interested in. So again, you can always change this later on, and it doesn't matter that much right now, but just so you can see your practice ACT score. So pretend, for example, I type in University of Minnesota Twin Cities, and then I'll hit enter, something like that. And then the next thing you have to do is you have to input some target scores for your ACT. And I know this is also kind of weird if you haven't seen your practice ACT test score yet, or you don't really know how you did your first time when you took the practice ACT or real ACT. So in this case, I would just say just estimate kind of something what you would find reasonable. So for example, pretend I don't know any of these guys over here, but maybe I'll say maybe a 25 on math would have been reasonable, or 25 on science, reading, and English. So at this point, the main thing you want to do is just put in some numbers on that scale, just so you can get to that page that shows your ACT score. And then after that, you'll hit enter, and then you will come across something that looks kind of like this. You won't see the welcome to your teacher dashboard because that's only me, but you'll see probably some links to some resources and stuff like that. But what you will see that is also on my screen right now is these tabs right up here. And so in order to see your ACT score, if it's not already on this home page right here, what you want to do is you want to go to, let's see, you might want to try clicking on tests. And for example, if you took the practice ACT with College Possible, the very first one that we call the baseline, it would be under this little subsection, and it will say completed on the date and your score. And so with that, I do kind of want to do a little disclaimer with ACT scores, and this score right here is mine, and that's because I took the practice ACT the same as you all just a few weeks ago during my training, and so this is actually my score as a college graduate. And if hopefully you've seen my other video on the ACT and kind of like kind of the flaws about it and all that stuff. And I'm not saying to defend my score, but rather just to show that this number, doesn't define you, doesn't define your intelligence or necessarily how successful you are going to be in life. That is, it is important for college admissions and all that stuff. So with that, I do personally encourage you not to share your practice ACT scores or maybe your ACT scores with your friends and stuff like that. And that's not only just to, prevent others from feeling maybe sad that, it's like, hey, all my friends are doing a lot better than me, but also it's just sort of it's kind of like a psychological thing where with improvement, it's best not to really tell other people exactly what you're doing. That way you really can focus on yourself and not let other people's expectations kind of weigh you down. So, but yeah, so this is your score. And so what you should be able to do is click on that. And I realized that you could also get to the same page by clicking on reports right here. And now we get into kind of the cool stuff. So I was talking about all the, setting up, logging in, blah, blah, blah. But this is where the Princeton Review website is actually very helpful. So if you took a practice ACT with the Princeton Review and the score, and it has been graded, what it will do is it will give you a breakdown of your score. So this is mine. I did this in English and math and reading and science. And in this tab right here, you can actually see all the questions that you got right and the ones that you got wrong. And you can actually click on one of them and you can see the question, and then you can see the right answer. I got that one right. But say, click on this one. I got that one wrong as well. And so I'm sorry, it doesn't say the question, but it explains kind of the what you're being tested on. And so this one was on punctuation, as you can see. So, and does that for all the sections as well. You can click on your math and do the same thing here on your math as well. And so, and the cool thing in addition to that is, so it's good that you can see your score and, and how you did on each section. You can click on topic breakdown here. And this is something that I think could be pretty helpful as you get prepared for taking the real ACT the next time. So each of these is sort of a category of how successful you were when you took this practice ACT. Big impact, it says that basically you did really well on this section. Quick win, you were doing very good. And the rest of these sort of show like, hey, these are areas that you might really want to focus on as you prepare for the next ACT. So for example, my big impact on, let's say, math looks like it was algebra, which is kind of interesting. And so don't want to show you that quite yet, but you can click on any of these and it will take you to this tab. But from this page, you can basically see like, hey, subject-verb agreement, I was doing pretty good on that when I took the practice ACT. But pronoun agreement, I didn't do so well on. And here, trigonometry, doesn't surprise me personally. I didn't do quite as well on. And these gray squares is basically, there wasn't a question on that stuff. So the next thing you want to check out is the coursework here. And so, it's great that you were able to see your score, you're able to see what areas that you did well on, what areas that you improved on, and I mean, what areas you can improve on. But I think the most important thing of this entire website is getting access to areas where you can practice. And so first I'm going to go over these topics. And so some of these topics right here, they have like this thing called secret sauce, and you can put your mouse over each of these. And it basically explains like this was just in the same tab, you did really well on this, and or you could really grow in this area, and this area has been challenging for you. But here on the left hand side, this is basically showing how much of the ACT is basically how much of this part is on the ACT. So for example, punctuation and comma usage, there was a lot of that on this practice ACT. But there wasn't as much on mastering contractions and lists and stuff like that for the English. And so that kind of gives you kind of general understanding. And so obviously each ACT is going to be different, and the Princeton Review ACT it's not the real ACT, but it's designed to be pretty close. And so I think if you really focus on the things that are rated as being frequently tested on, that might be able to really help you when you take this real ACT. So now that you know the areas that you did well on, the areas that you need to improve on, as well as how frequent each of these areas was on the practice ACT, to actually practice that, and I'm going to go down to something, let's go down to math. So for example, a challenge for me was inequalities. So that's something like, hey, I kind of want to learn a little bit more about that. So what you do is you basically just click on this, and you have two options here. You can click and learn, and then click again. And what's pretty cool is that it will load up a video or kind of like a PowerPoint slide. And I'm not going to show this entire thing, but you can basically click on this video and it's going to show like two people talking about, you got this guy, this exact subject right here, and giving you some specific techniques that you can use when you are studying for this thing or when you go to take the real test. So that's pretty cool, but it's all kind of pointless if you're not able to practice it. So the other thing about this area is you can click on practice, and you click on that and click launch practice, and this will give you just some sample problems that are, for this one, is inequalities. And so after you watch those videos and you hopefully get a better idea of like how to tackle these problems, you can test yourself and see how well you're doing. And so, but yeah, so as I said in like the previous video on the ACT, it's really all about practice in terms of like improving your score. And I think this Princeton Review website is really good because it uses a practice ACT that you already took to show where you can improve on, as well as the subject areas that are technically frequent in the ACT, and it gives you the opportunity to practice on that. So yeah, so that is basically it. So if you want to just kind of click around and check out kind of like your different areas here, I think it's actually kind of interesting, and I think it might be mobile friendly as well. So you don't have to sit down on this thing and spend 4 hours on it. Who's going to do that anyways? But maybe you are waiting at the bus stop, or you're waiting at the microwave or something like that. It's a dumb example, but hey, it might work. And you can basically try a few practice problems. You can watch a video, and so. But yeah, so that's the Princeton Review website. If you have any questions, please send me an email, and especially if you're one of my students, send me a text if you have any questions about this, or if you have any issues logging in and all that stuff. So yeah, cool. Thanks for watching.